being said, Jennifer Campbell, you were the first one I acknowledged tonight. So I'm going to call on you first, my friend. Jennifer, are you out there?
I am. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Jennifer. So where are you calling in from?
From Hellertown, Pennsylvania, which is on the east coast of Pennsylvania.
Okay. All right. So you're not too far. I'm only up in Connecticut.
Okay.
And what's something you're passionate about?
Teaching.
Really? What do you teach?
I'm also a teacher. I've been teaching dance as a teenager and then teaching kindergarten for the last 22 years. And
bless you.
Yeah,
I'll deal with hormones. You can deal with the little ones.
And I say the exact opposite. I don't want to do that age. But I'm also a mom of 2 teenagers, so I get those hormones as well. And a wife of 20 years as well.
Congratulations, 20 years. Good for you.
Thank you.
And what kind of dance do you teach?
I used to teach. I haven't taught dance since my daughter was born, so 15 years. But I taught everything, but floor gymnastics was my favorite, called acrobatics.
Wow. That sounds like
I used to love flipping and doing all kinds of fun things like that.
And I have somebody dancing the floss behind me.
I get it.
He's only 2 years out of kindergarten, so. And who shared ER Shred with you?
I randomly found it. I don't even remember how. I must have been in an Isagenix group because I did Isagenix 7 to 9 years ago. And I just kept seeing it repeating. And I was like, what is this? And so nobody ever officially said, hey, you might like this or check this out. It was I randomly came across it. I'm so grateful that I did. I found the group and just started. It took me about a month to really take in everything that everybody's saying, read the guides, reread them again right before I started because I still didn't trust myself, and commit to it because that was the biggest thing. Mindset is huge.
Mindset absolutely is huge. So did you continue Isagenix? Were you still utilizing the products when you saw ER Shred, or did you come back to the products when you saw ER Shred?
Kind of both. So I used it 5 to 7 years ago, or 7 to 9 years ago. I don't even know at this point. It was a long time ago. I got amazing results. I was down to better than when I had my children, college size, and felt amazing. And it really worked. And then I got off of Isagenix because at the time I thought I was allergic to the whey. Well, I'm finding out it's actually the culprits of everything else. It's not really the shakes because they're not doing anything to me now. It was everything else I was eating. But I got away from it thinking that the whey protein was what was making my face completely break out and wanting to rip my skin off. So I let it go for a while. And then the pandemic hit and I was a virtual kindergarten teacher and stressed out beyond belief, and also in a doctoral program because I'm getting my doctorate in leadership right now. So the last 3 years have been extremely stressful. So in the fall, I decided to take a sabbatical. And during the sabbatical to do my dissertation, I decided I needed to take my life back and focus on my health and well-being again, because the last 3 years, I embraced my fatness, which is what I would tell my husband. I'm like, I'm okay with it. And that mindset was completely true. I was okay with it. Well, I'm no longer okay with it. So I decided to take my life back. And in the fall, I decided to try just Isagenix again. Well, it didn't work for me this time. I was a much farther along and much larger than I was the first time. And just doing that program didn't really work for me. So I just kept searching, and I'm guessing that's how I found this, was just, seeing all these tips and tricks and things. So I'm guessing that's how I got here.
So I'm just curious, what do you think wasn't working? You just weren't getting the results, or was it trying to figure out the 400, 600 calorie meal, 2 snacks and 2 shakes? Was it?
I think I wasn't adding in. I think my mind of what healthy foods were not really what was healthy for me at the time. And the snacks, I don't think really worked for me. I have a cabinet full of great stuff that I probably won't use because it doesn't seem to do anything for me. The eggs and everything else that I'm eating now are much better for me. And I enjoy
them. How about those
more.
teenagers in your house? Would they take those on?
I've been trying. They don't want to try it.
Okay. I'm just curious because my, and I have to pause for a minute and say, kudos to you, because mine was in kindergarten when we went remote. And I watched what happened there. So I can only imagine what the backside of that looked like, knowing what the backside of my middle school education looked like. So I want to pause and say thank you for those who pushed through during the pandemic, because wow. And kindergarten, bless you. So you found the ER shred in the Isagenix community. So you came in and you joined us and you looked around, and what'd you think?
I thought it was amazing. I love the playfulness of it. Like I said, I'm working on my dissertation, and what I'm researching right now is play and playfulness still around in kindergarten? And honestly, I think the fun playfulness of the group is what really attracted me to it. Because
we're just a bunch of big kids.
We all should be.
Exactly. And that's what we accept. And I think that's why, I know with my conversation with Kathy last night, we all kind of found our home where we felt like we didn't fit, where everybody's so serious and rigid and measuring everything. And we don't fit in that community, or at least I don't feel that I do. And my students will tell you I'm the same way in my classroom. My classroom adds variety to their day. It's what I like to say. So you did so you spent your time in the guides, and you said you watched for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And you digested the guides, and then what was it that finally made you commit to trying it?
I was like, well, this isn't working. I need to try something new and see if it works. And it's 11 days. Anybody could do anything for 11 days. And if it doesn't work, I could find something else. But it worked. It was hard. It was a big change of mindset and food. Like everything tasted horrible at first. And I wasn't used to like the grass-fed anything and the collagen broth. I absolutely I did this the first few times, and I'm like, do I really have to have that? And now I absolutely love it.
So I know we've got our new community group shred has started this Monday. We're all on reset day 1, but we've seen some comments around the bone broth and around the grass-fed meat. So how did you get through that dislike of those on your 11 days? What tips would you say to a new shredder who's like, I'm not doing the bone broth, it's gross? What would you say to them?
So I just invited a few friends to join as well. They may be watching, and I told them, I'm like, buy it. You may not like it the first day, but here's what I did. The first day I did that, I got 1 down. And then I went back to the guides and I started reading and I started researching why am I doing this to myself? And then the second day I told myself, I'm going to do this. It tastes great. It's good for me. And it literally was the mindset thing. And I just kept telling myself over and over, and I made myself enjoy it. So by that second day of the cleanse, I actually enjoyed it.
I love that, because you interrupted your mindset and you disrupted it. And you switched the language that it was coming from a positive vibration, and all of a sudden it tasted better. Same with the grass-fed meat.
I had to try other brands. I haven't gone back to the brand that I first started with because I didn't know if it was that or if it was me. I may go back now, but I found a brand that actually tastes amazing. I couldn't even tell you what it is, but I think with that, it was trial and error. And I'm now enjoying that as well. And my family all loves it now too.
That's so awesome. So awesome. So what was your 11 days? Tell us your journey after you got over the pinching your nose to drink the bone broth. Tell us about the rest of your journey.
So the 11 days, I was kind of sad. I started right before the February group shred. I was like 2 or 3 days ahead of everybody. And then I regretted it because I enjoyed watching the group. Like I like doing things in groups. I do much better as a team. So I was a few days ahead. So like when everyone's like, we're cleansing, I'm like, no, I'm now eating. So I told myself I have to do a group shred. And then March came along and I couldn't do that one. And I was like, oh, so I'm finally in a group shred, by the way. This is my fourth and I'm doing it as a team. But so after that first one, got through and I was excited to measure and I was so proud of myself. Like I no longer was craving sweets, which always happens after cleansing. I've always hated, and I've had a love-hate relationship with cleansing. It's more on the love side now, because I really am seeing a lot more results. But I know that my cravings disappear and I just feel better after doing that. So then on that 12th day, I measured and that just sent me through the roof. I was like, okay, I've been doing Isagenix now for 6 months again, and nothing was happening really, like little movements, but nothing like this. And like the first time I lost 12 pounds and 16.25 inches.
Wow.
So I was like, and this works. So then I got confused on like how to introduce foods, and I introduced a few too many. And then I was like, I don't feel great. I'm just starting again. So I think it was like the 5 days later, I started my second one.
So I have a question for you. You realized you didn't go slow. How did you get past that and get yourself to say, I'm going back to baseline and I'm going to try it again? And because it sounds like you're in a very positive light about that you're not beating yourself up over that and you just kind of committed to keep going because it's a journey. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I was very torn on like, how do you really introduce just one thing at a time? I don't have that kind of patience. So I was like, well, let's just eat one meal that we normally eat and see how I do. And then if like lemon chicken didn't work for me, I know it's either the lemon or the capers because it had 2 ingredients in it. So I was like, okay, if I do that, I could then try to figure out the one. Well, I did that and it seemed to be okay. And then I ate something, I couldn't even tell you what it is at this moment. I'm like trying to block it, I think, out of my mind. And I felt the worst I ever felt. Like my face was on fire. And I was like, oh, I'm starting an 11-day again. And I'm never having that again. I'd have to go back through my food journal to figure out what it is. But
that's the key. You journaled it. So you know, you're identifying your food blueprint. And so what did you learn the second time around when you gave yourself the patience to give it a couple of days between trying things? What did you learn?
I learned that there's not many things I need to add back in. Like there were just a few things that I was like, okay, this is a necessity. I love lemon. I love that as a seasoning. I love asparagus. So like certain things where I'm like, I don't need to add everything. And then after the second shred, it became my birthday, my husband's birthday, and my son's birthday. So there was way too many celebrations to even try to, like, I wanted to go to the party and be like, I'm not going to eat the food that you made, but I didn't want to insult my mother-in-law either. So I just was like, and just.
So you lived life knowing that even if you veer off the tracks a little bit, you know how to come right back to it.
And that was exactly it. I started right again after that last little celebration. And that was my third shred. And I got to say, like, after that one, I lost 20.5 pounds total and 43.5 inches.
Whoa. 43.5 inches.
Now I got to tell you, I do measure parts that are not on the thing that everybody else has, because there are certain areas that I want to know if they are shrinking. So I might have more inches due to the more areas being measured, but
doesn't matter.
And I know how I'm doing.
Doesn't matter. That's still amazing. And congratulations. That's got to feel good. And I love how you shared, I don't need to add everything back in. You're right. You know, our ancestors didn't have all of these modern day products. They just had little creepers behind them like I do. But they didn't need this massive blueprint of food. When you find those few things that you need, do you feel deprived?
No.
Do you feel restricted?
No. But I did give myself, so I did go away this past weekend with friends who are the ones that may be on here now because I finally get to share with people. But I went away crafting because that's my other passion. And we eat yummy food.
Yeah.
I don't find it that yummy anymore. I got to tell you, like, I felt horrible by day 2. I was like, okay, I'm glad I brought some shakes along and things. So actually, when we go away again, I think I'm going to pack more of my own food or offer to make meals that go along with what I'm eating.
Right. Right. And that's the thing. Like when I go, racing season's about to start back up. They're going to pack their cooler. I pack my own personal cooler. I pack double because when I eat my own food, somebody helps himself to my food as well. But if you're prepared, shredders are always prepared. I feel like we're always ready. And I also think kindergarten has prepared you for that too.
Definitely.
Is there anything else on your heart you want to share with us that I didn't ask you about tonight?
No, I think I'm enjoying the journey. I'm so glad to be part of this group shred. And I just love how supportive everybody is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thank you.